Take a slow breath in and gently let it out. You don't need to focus. You don't need to remember anything. Just listen. Have you ever noticed that even when your body rests, your mind keeps moving? Thoughts drift, memories surface, ideas appear without effort. Tonight, we're exploring 100 psychology signs that your mind never truly switches off. This isn't about fixing your thoughts. It's about understanding them. Let each sign wash over you. There's nothing to do, nowhere to go. Let's begin. Part 1, the restless mind. Sign 1, replaying conversations. If you replay conversations long after they end, your mind is still processing meaning. This isn't overthinking in the negative sense. Your brain is a meaning-making machine. When you revisit that talk with your coworker, that text exchange, that dinner conversation, your mind is extracting lessons, understanding social dynamics, and filing away important emotional information. Every conversation contains layers, the words themselves, the tone beneath them, the context around them. Your mind doesn't just record these moments like a camera. It analyzes them, compares them to past experiences, and uses them to predict future interactions. This is your brain doing what it evolved to do, learning from every human exchange. Sign 2, creating what-if scenarios. If your brain creates what-if scenarios, it's practicing future possibilities. You might lie in bed thinking, what if I had said this instead? Or what if that meeting goes differently tomorrow? This feels like worry, but it's actually rehearsal. Your mind is running simulations. It's testing different outcomes, preparing responses, building a library of possibilities. Athletes visualize their performances. Your brain does this naturally, constantly. It's not anxious planning, it's intelligent preparation. Every what if is your mind's way of reducing future uncertainty. Sign 3, silence feels louder than noise. If silence feels louder than noise, your awareness is heightened. In quiet moments, you might notice your heartbeat, the hum of electronics, the sound of your own breathing. This isn't discomfort, it's acute perception. When external stimulation decreases, your sensory threshold lowers. You become attuned to subtleties. This is why meditation can feel overwhelming at first. You're not creating the noise, you're finally hearing what was always there. Your mind, freed from filtering constant input, turns its attention inward and notices everything. Sign 4, mentally rehearsing future events. If you mentally rehearse future events, your brain is preparing for safety. Before a presentation, a difficult conversation, or even a social gathering, you might play through scenarios in your mind. You imagine what you'll say, how others might respond, what could go wrong. This is your brain's ancient safety mechanism. Our ancestors who anticipated danger survived. Your mind inherited this gift. It doesn't distinguish between physical and social threats. Both activate the same preparatory systems. Rehearsal creates familiarity, and familiarity creates calm. Sign 5, thoughts drifting during movies. If your thoughts drift during movies, your inner world is very active. You might be watching a film and suddenly realize you've missed 10 minutes because your mind wandered to your own life, your own stories, your own questions. This happens when your internal narrative is rich and compelling. The movie triggers associations. A character reminds you of someone, a scene sparks a memory, a theme connects to your current struggles. Your mind doesn't drift randomly. It drifts toward what matters to you. Sign 6, feeling tired but mentally alert. If you feel tired but mentally alert, your body and mind rest differently. You might be physically exhausted, muscles heavy, eyes wanting to close, yet your thoughts remain sharp and active. This disconnect reveals something important. Your brain has its own energy systems. Physical tiredness comes from muscular exertion, depleted glycogen, accumulated metabolic byproducts. Mental alertness comes from neurological arousal, circulating thoughts, unresolved questions. They operate on different timelines. Your body might be ready for sleep while your mind is still processing the day, and that's completely normal. Sign 7, thoughts jumping between topics. If your thoughts jump between topics, your brain enjoys connection. You might start thinking about work, then suddenly remember a song, then wonder about what to eat tomorrow, then recall a childhood memory. This seems chaotic, but there's hidden order. Your brain is associative. Every thought connects to others through invisible threads, shared emotions, similar contexts, related sensory experiences. When you let your mind wander freely, you're watching your neural network at play, following pathways of meaning that exist below conscious awareness. This jumping isn't distraction, it's exploration. Sign 8. Noticing tiny details others miss. If you notice tiny details others miss, your mind is always scanning. You might spot when someone changes their hair slightly, notice a new picture on a colleague's desk, or remember exactly where you parked 3 days ago. This constant scanning is your brain's way of building complete maps of your environment. Some minds scan more thoroughly than others. It's not better or worse, it's a different processing style. High-detail processors gather rich information, though sometimes at the cost of mental energy. Your mind never stops cataloging because completeness feels safe. Sign 9. Embarrassing moments feel vivid. If embarrassing moments feel vivid, your brain is learning through memory. That thing you said 5 years ago that makes you cringe? Your brain marked it as important. Embarrassment is a social emotion. It signals that you violated a norm or expectation. Your mind preserves these moments with crystal clarity because they contain vital learning. The vividness ensures you remember. The discomfort ensures you adapt. It's not punishment, it's education. Your brain keeps these memories accessible because it's trying to help you navigate the social world more successfully. Sign 10. Daydreaming without noticing. If you daydream without noticing, your mind is exploring quietly. You might wake up from a daydream and realize you've been staring at nothing for several minutes, having traveled somewhere entirely different in your thoughts. Daydreaming isn't absence, it's presence elsewhere. Your default mode network activates during these moments, the same brain system involved in imagination, memory, and self-reflection. This network doesn't rest, it explores. When external tasks don't demand attention, your mind turns to its own projects, solving problems, rehearsing scenarios, exploring desires, creating meaning. Sign 11. Thoughts increasing before sleep. If thoughts increase before sleep, your mind finally has space to speak. The day is full of demands, tasks, conversations, decisions, stimulations. These occupy your conscious attention. When you lie down in darkness and quiet, suddenly there's room. All the thoughts that were waiting patiently now surge forward. Worries you suppressed during meetings. Ideas you didn't have time to explore. Emotions you postponed processing. They're not interrupting your sleep, they're finally getting their turn. Your mind isn't sabotaging rest, it's claiming the only quiet moment you've offered it all day. Sign 12. Finishing people's sentences mentally. If you finish people's sentences mentally, your brain predicts patterns. While someone speaks, you're already anticipating where they're going. Sometimes you're right, sometimes you're surprised. Either way, your mind is actively constructing predictions. Language prediction is fundamental to comprehension. Your brain doesn't passively receive words. It actively guesses what's coming next based on context, grammar, the speaker's patterns, and social conventions. This prediction happens so quickly you don't notice it. When someone pauses mid-sentence, and you instantly know what they meant to say, that's your predictive system working perfectly. Sign 13. Simple decisions feeling complex. If simple decisions feel complex, your mind sees many outcomes. Choosing where to eat, what to wear, or which route to take can spiral into extensive deliberation. This isn't indecisiveness, it's thoroughness. Your mind evaluates multiple factors: practical consequences, emotional implications, social perceptions, future ramifications. A simple decision about lunch might involve thinking about nutrition, enjoyment, cost, time, who you'll encounter, how you'll feel afterward. Your brain doesn't see simple decisions because it sees complete systems. Sign 14. Narrating your life internally. If you narrate your life internally, your awareness stays switched on. You might have a running commentary in your head. I'm walking to the kitchen. I should drink water. I wonder if. This internal voice is consciousness observing itself. Self-narration is metacognition, thinking about thinking. It's the voice that provides continuity to your experience, that turns raw sensations into a coherent story. Some people have this voice constantly, others experience it rarely. Neither is better. But if you have it, your mind is continuously creating meaning from experience in real time. Sign 15. Analyzing tone and expressions. If you analyze tone and expressions, your mind reads between lines. Someone says, "Fine," but you hear disappointment. Someone smiles, but you sense tension. You're reading micro-expressions, vocal inflections, contextual incongruities. This is emotional intelligence in action. Your brain processes far more social information than reaches conscious awareness. You pick up on tiny discrepancies between what people say and what they feel. This constant analysis can be exhausting, but it's also a sophisticated form of understanding. Your mind never stops reading people because connection requires interpretation. Sign 16. Thinking faster than you speak. If you think faster than you speak, your inner pace is quick. You might lose track of what you're saying because your thoughts have already moved 3 steps ahead. Or you simplify complex ideas because expressing everything you're thinking would take too long. Thought operates at neural speed, milliseconds. Speech operates at physical speed, syllables per second. There's always a gap. For some people, this gap feels enormous. Your mind races through connections, implications, and nuances while your mouth struggles to catch up. This isn't a problem to fix, it's the natural tempo of an active mind. Sign 17. Unrelated ideas connecting suddenly. If unrelated ideas connect suddenly, your brain loves creativity. You might be thinking about work when a solution to a completely different problem appears, or reading about history when you suddenly understand something about your relationship. Creative insight emerges from unexpected associations. Your brain stores everything in an interconnected web. When you're relaxed or thinking about something else, distant nodes in this web suddenly light up together, revealing connections that logical analysis missed. These moments feel magical, but they're your associative network doing what it does best, finding patterns across domains. Sign 18. Empty mind feels impossible. If empty mind feels impossible, your brain prefers motion. Meditation teachers say, "Clear your mind," and you might feel frustrated because thoughts keep appearing. But thought isn't the enemy of peace. Your brain generates thought constantly. It's what brains do. Expecting 0 thoughts is like expecting your heart to stop beating. The goal isn't absence, it's relationship. You can notice thoughts without following them, observe them without judging them. A busy mind isn't a failed mind. It's an active mind learning to watch itself with kindness. Sign 19. Problems solving themselves later. If problems solve themselves later, your subconscious kept working. You struggle with something, give up, then suddenly, while showering, driving, or washing dishes, the answer appears. This is incubation at work. When you stop consciously focusing on a problem, your mind doesn't stop working on it. It continues processing below awareness, trying different approaches, making new connections. The solution that seemed impossible yesterday might become obvious today because your brain never stopped trying. Rest doesn't mean stopping, it means working differently. Sign 20. Insights appearing randomly. If insights appear randomly, your mind never truly paused. You might be grocery shopping when you suddenly understand why you felt upset last week, or watching birds when you realize what your friend meant 3 days ago. Understanding doesn't arrive on schedule. Your mind processes experiences continuously, extracting meaning at its own pace. These random insights aren't random. They're the result of ongoing background processing finally reaching consciousness. Your awareness catches up to what your deeper mind already figured out. Sign 21. Relaxation still feels mentally busy. If relaxation still feels mentally busy, rest doesn't mean silence. You might be lounging, physically at ease, yet your mind remains occupied, planning, remembering, imagining, wondering. There's a difference between physical rest and mental rest, and they don't always coincide. Some people recharge by quieting their thoughts, others recharge by letting thoughts flow freely. Neither is wrong. Your mind might need to move in order to settle. Activity and rest aren't opposites, they're different qualities of being. Sign 22. Imagining alternate outcomes. If you imagine alternate outcomes, your mind explores possibilities. What if I'd chosen differently? Isn't regret, it's speculation. Your brain is curious about paths not taken, futures not lived. This exploration serves multiple purposes. It helps you evaluate past decisions, learn from experience, and prepare for similar situations. It also satisfies curiosity, the need to know how things could have been different. Your mind builds counterfactuals because understanding what didn't happen helps you understand what did. Sign 23. Routine tasks feeling automatic. If routine tasks feel automatic, your mind wandered elsewhere. You arrive home with no memory of the drive. You finish your morning routine without conscious thought. Your body performed while your mind traveled. This is procedural memory, actions so practiced they require minimal conscious attention. When tasks become automatic, your mind is free to work on other things. This isn't distraction, it's efficiency. Your brain can run multiple processes simultaneously, handling the familiar unconsciously while exploring the novel consciously. Sign 24. Late nights feeling mentally clear. If late nights feel mentally clear, your brain enjoys quiet hours. After everyone's asleep, obligations finished, darkness settled, your thoughts might become unusually lucid and focused. The world's noise decreases at night. Literal noise, social noise, expectation noise. Your mind, no longer managing constant input, can think deeply without interruption. This is why writers, artists, and thinkers often prefer late hours. The clarity isn't random, it's the natural result of reduced interference. Sign 25. Music playing in your head. If music plays in your head, your mind stays gently active. A song appears unbidden and loops for hours. You might wake up with a melody you haven't heard in years playing perfectly in your mind. This is auditory imagination, your brain's ability to generate internal sound. Music is pattern, emotion, and memory combined. When a song plays in your head, your mind is processing something related to that song's emotional signature, even if you don't consciously know what. Mental music is thought in a different language. Gentle pause. Let's continue. Part 2. Nighttime brain activity. Sign 26. Fewer distractions allow thoughts to rise. At night, the external world retreats. Phone calls stop. Emails pause. Social obligations disappear. In this absence of external demand, internal thoughts rise to the surface like bubbles in still water. During the day, you might not notice certain thoughts because you're too busy responding to the world. At night, with nothing pressing for your attention, these thoughts finally get heard. They were always there, waiting beneath the surface. Darkness doesn't create them, it reveals them. Sign 27. Old memories returning. Old memories return when the mind feels safe. Night creates psychological safety. You're alone, unobserved, free from judgment. In this safety, your mind opens the archives. Memories from childhood, past relationships, earlier versions of yourself might appear vividly. These aren't intrusions. They're your mind's way of integrating your story, understanding who you were to comprehend who you are. Memory doesn't just record the past, it actively maintains your sense of continuity across time. Sign 28. Imaginary conversations. Imaginary conversations help process emotions. You might replay an argument with better responses, or rehearse a difficult talk you need to have, or imagine what you'd say to someone from your past. These mental dialogues aren't fantasies, they're emotional processing. When you can't or shouldn't express something directly, your mind creates a safe space to explore those feelings. Imaginary conversations let you test responses, understand your emotions, and prepare for reality without risk. Sign 29. Sleep time bringing clarity. Sleep time often brings problem-solving clarity. The deadline, the conflict, The decision that seemed impossible during the day might suddenly present a clear solution as you lie in bed. This happens because your problem-solving mode shifts. Daytime thinking is often rigid, logical, and constrained by conventional approaches. Night thinking is more fluid, associative, and open to unconventional solutions. Your mind, relaxed and wandering, can see angles that focused analysis missed. Sign 30. Creativity increasing. Creativity increases when pressure disappears. Without deadlines, expectations, or judgments, your imagination can play freely. Ideas that seemed silly during the day might feel brilliant at night. Creativity requires psychological freedom, the permission to think without immediate evaluation. Night provides this naturally. There's no one to impress, nothing to achieve right now. In this freedom, your creative mind emerges, making unexpected connections and generating novel possibilities. Sign 31. Waking with thoughts. Waking with thoughts means the brain never stopped. You might open your eyes with a complete idea, a solved problem, or a clear decision. Your sleeping mind was working. Sleep isn't shut down, it's different processing. Your brain consolidates memories, strengthens connections, and continues working on problems you gave it before sleep. When you wake with answers, it's because your unconscious mind spent the night thinking in ways your conscious mind cannot. Sign 32. Vivid dreams. Vivid dreams reflect active mental imagery. Some people dream in rich detail, colors, sounds, complete narratives. This mirrors their waking imagination. Dreams are your brain's nocturnal creativity, processing emotions and experiences through symbolic storytelling. Vivid dreamers have active visual and emotional centers that continue generating rich content during sleep. Your dreaming mind is your waking mind with different rules, less logical, more associative, emotionally honest. Sign 33. Night thinking and the future. Night thinking leans toward the future. You might find yourself planning tomorrow, next week, next year, or worrying about upcoming events, imagining possibilities, preparing mentally. The future is uncertain, and uncertainty activates thinking. At night, without immediate demands, your mind naturally turns to what's coming, trying to reduce uncertainty through mental preparation. This forward focus is adaptive. Your brain is doing what evolution designed it to do: anticipate and prepare. Sign 34. Resisting shutdown by design. Your mind resists shutdown by design. Complete mental silence is neither possible nor desirable. Your brain evolved to maintain vigilance, to process continuously, to never fully disengage. Even in sleep, your brain monitors for threats, processes information, and maintains bodily functions. Total shutdown would be dangerous. Your mind's constant activity isn't a bug, it's a feature. Awareness itself requires continuous mental motion. Sign 35. Darkness removing visual noise. Darkness removes visual noise. During the day, your visual system processes enormous amounts of information. At night, in darkness, this channel quiets. With less visual input, your mind can allocate resources differently. Internal thoughts become more vivid. Emotional awareness sharpens. Physical sensations intensify. Darkness doesn't add thoughts. It removes competition for your attention, allowing inner experience to become more prominent. Sign 36. Reviewing the day. The brain naturally reviews the day. Like a journalist writing their story, your mind replays events, highlighting important moments, extracting lessons, filing memories. This review isn't optional, it's automatic. Your brain needs to make sense of what happened, integrate new experiences with existing knowledge, and prepare better responses for tomorrow. The day's review often happens as you transition to sleep, your mind ensuring nothing important gets lost. Sign 37. Imagining other lives. Imagining other lives reflects curiosity. You might wonder what your life would be like with different choices, careers, relationships. This isn't dissatisfaction, it's exploration. Your mind is naturally curious about possibilities. These alternative life fantasies help you understand your values, desires, and priorities by contrast. When you imagine being someone else, you're actually learning more about who you are. Sign 38, planning tomorrow. Planning tomorrow creates a sense of control. Before sleep, you might mentally organize the next day, what you'll do, in what order, how you'll handle challenges. This planning reduces anxiety. Uncertainty is uncomfortable. By mentally structuring tomorrow, you create predictability and control. Your brain prefers prepared futures to unknown ones. Night planning is your mind's way of making tomorrow feel manageable. Sign 39, peace and thought coexisting. Peace and thought can exist together. You don't need mental silence to feel peaceful. You can have active thoughts while feeling calm. The assumption that peace requires emptiness is misleading. True peace is acceptance of your thoughts, your mind's activity, your natural mental motion. A busy mind can be a peaceful mind when you stop fighting against your own nature. Sign 40, random facts surfacing. Random facts surface when space opens. You might suddenly remember a phone number from childhood, a fact from school, or a detail from a movie you watched years ago. These aren't truly random. They're associatively triggered by something in your current environment or thought stream. Your memory isn't organized chronologically. It's organized by association. When one memory activates, it can trigger others through invisible connections, bringing random information into awareness. Sign 41, gentle thought loops. Gentle thought loops are common. The same thought returns repeatedly, cycling through your awareness. This isn't obsession, it's incomplete processing. When your mind returns to the same topic, it's because something remains unresolved. Like a program running in the background, your mind keeps approaching the issue from different angles, seeking resolution. The loop stops when understanding arrives or when you consciously choose to redirect attention. Sign 42, mental alertness outlasting physical energy. Mental alertness can outlast physical energy. Your body might be exhausted, ready to collapse, yet your mind remains sharp, engaged, curious. Mental and physical energy draw from different reserves. Physical exhaustion comes from muscular depletion. Mental alertness comes from neurological activation. You can be physically depleted while mentally energized, especially if you're intellectually engaged or emotionally stimulated. The two systems don't always synchronize. Sign 43, sudden clarity at night. Sudden clarity often comes at night. A problem that confused you all day might suddenly make perfect sense at 11 p.m. This happens because your analytical mind relaxes at night, allowing intuitive understanding to emerge. During the day, you might overthink, forcing solutions. At night, you release that grip and insights appear naturally. Sometimes clarity requires less thinking, not more. Sign 44, introspection deepening after sunset. Introspection deepens after sunset. Questions about meaning, purpose, identity, and values might feel more pressing at night. Darkness creates natural introspection. Without external light, attention turns inward. The existential questions that seem abstract during busy days become immediate at night. Your mind, free from external demands, naturally turns to the deeper questions of existence. Sign 45, ideas organizing themselves. Ideas quietly organize themselves. Information you absorbed during the day might sort itself into coherent understanding at night without conscious effort. Your brain organizes information automatically, finding patterns, creating categories, building structures. This organization happens below awareness. You might go to bed confused and wake up understanding. Your sleeping brain continued the work of making sense. Sign 46, silence allowing inner sound. Silence allows inner sound. In the absence of external noise, you hear your thoughts more clearly, your internal voice more distinctly. This isn't new noise, it's always there, but external sound usually masks it. Silence doesn't create mental activity, it reveals it. What you hear in silence was playing all along beneath the world's noise. Sign 47, late hours inviting reflection. Late hours invite reflection. Past decisions, current situations, future possibilities all become subjects of contemplation when the world sleeps. There's something about late night that encourages honest self-examination. Maybe it's fatigue lowering defenses. Maybe it's darkness creating privacy. Maybe it's simply having time without interruption. Whatever the cause, late night naturally invites you to think deeply about your life. Sign 48. Imagination growing vivid. Imagination grows vivid without interruption. Your mental imagery might become richer, more detailed, more emotionally resonant at night. During the day, reality constantly interrupts imagination. At night, with fewer external demands, imagination can fully unfold. This is why creative people often work late. Their imagination isn't constrained by the world's demands. The vivid imagination you experience at night was always there, waiting for space to express itself. Sign 49. Time feeling slower. Time feels slower during deep thought. An hour of thinking can feel like minutes, or minutes can feel like hours, depending on your engagement. Time perception is subjective. When you're absorbed in thought, clock time becomes irrelevant. Your experience stretches or contracts based on mental activity, not external measurement. Deep thought creates its own temporality, its own pace, its own rhythm. Sign 50. Awareness increasing. Awareness increases when the world sleeps. You might feel more conscious, more present, more attentive at night than during the busy day. This heightened awareness comes from reduced stimulation. During the day, you're reactive, responding to constant demands. At night, you're receptive, open to whatever arises internally. This shift from doing to being naturally enhances awareness. Soft pause. We're halfway through. Let's continue deeper. Part 3. The subconscious at work. Sign 51. Emotions processing quietly. Emotions process quietly beneath awareness. You might not consciously know you're sad, angry, or anxious, yet these emotions influence your thoughts, choices, and perceptions. Emotional processing happens in brain regions that don't communicate directly with language centers. You feel before you know you feel. Your subconscious registers emotional information, processes it, and only sometimes passes the results to conscious awareness. Most emotional work happens silently, shaping your experience without announcement. Sign 52. Understanding arriving later. Understanding often arrives later. Someone says something that doesn't make sense initially, but days later, you suddenly get it. Your mind continues processing information long after the initial encounter. Comprehension isn't always immediate. Your brain needs time to connect new information with existing knowledge, to examine it from multiple angles, to integrate it fully. Delayed understanding reveals that your mind never stopped working on the question. Sign 53. Connections forming without effort. Connections form without effort. Two seemingly unrelated ideas suddenly link, and you see a pattern you never noticed. Your brain is a connection machine. It constantly seeks relationships between disparate pieces of information. These connections emerge spontaneously from your brain's natural pattern recognition processes. You don't have to force them. Your subconscious automatically links related concepts, even when conscious thought doesn't see the relationship. Sign 54. Patterns sensed intuitively. Patterns are sensed intuitively. You might feel that something's off without knowing why, or sense that two situations are similar despite surface differences. Pattern recognition often happens below conscious awareness. Your brain detects regularities, rhythms, and structures before your conscious mind can articulate them. This is intuition, subconscious knowledge presenting itself as feeling rather than thought. You know without knowing how you know. Sign 55. Resting doesn't stop thinking. Resting doesn't stop thinking. Even when you're relaxed, lying down, doing nothing, mental activity continues. Rest is not the absence of mental activity, it's a different quality of activity. When you rest, you might stop effortful thinking, but automatic thinking continues. Your mind generates associations, memories surface, plans form. True mental shutdown is neither possible nor necessary for rest. Sign 56. Ideas arriving during stillness. Ideas arrive during stillness. When you stop trying to think of something, it appears. This is the paradox of mental effort. Sometimes trying harder doesn't help. When you release conscious effort, your subconscious can work freely. The stillness creates space for ideas that were forming below awareness to finally surface. Stillness isn't empty, it's receptive. Sign 57. Deep thinking doesn't feel loud. Deep thinking doesn't feel loud. Profound understanding often arrives quietly, without fanfare or dramatic realization. We expect insights to feel dramatic, but deep processing is often subtle. Your mind might work on something for weeks, integrating information gradually, until one day you simply understand. The understanding feels quiet because it emerged slowly, not suddenly. Deep thought often whispers rather than shouts. Sign 58. The brain working in layers. The brain works in layers. Conscious thought is just the surface. Beneath it, multiple levels of processing run simultaneously. Your brain has conscious thought, but also preconscious monitoring, unconscious processing, and automatic routines all operating at once. You're aware of maybe 5% of your mental activity. The rest happens in layers below awareness, influencing everything without your knowledge. Sign 59. Awareness continuing in calm. Awareness continues in calm moments. Even in peace, you're still conscious, still noticing, still present. Calm isn't unconsciousness. It's conscious awareness without agitation. In calm, your awareness might actually sharpen because it's not distracted by anxiety or urgency. You can be deeply aware while deeply peaceful. Awareness and calm aren't opposites, they're complementary. Sign 60. Clarity appearing suddenly. Clarity appears suddenly. One moment you're confused, the next everything makes sense. These moments feel sudden, but they result from gradual subconscious processing. Your mind has been working toward understanding, piece by piece, below awareness. The moment of clarity is when all the pieces suddenly fit together and the understanding becomes conscious. The work wasn't sudden, only its arrival in awareness. Sign 61. Understanding people silently. Understanding people happens silently. You might suddenly grasp someone's motivations, fears, or desires without them explaining. Social understanding involves reading subtle cues, body language, tone, context, history. Your brain processes this information automatically, building models of others' mental states. This understanding often arrives as feeling or intuition rather than conscious reasoning. You understand people through subconscious pattern recognition. Sign 62. Observation being constant. Observation is constant. Even when you're not consciously paying attention, your senses gather information. Your brain never stops monitoring your environment. Most observation happens automatically. Your visual system tracks movement, your auditory system monitors sound, your interoceptive system registers internal states. Only a fraction of this information reaches conscious awareness, but all of it influences your experience. Sign 63. Intuition strengthening. Intuition strengthens with awareness. The more you notice your intuitive hits, the more you trust them, the stronger they become. Intuition is subconscious pattern recognition. When you pay attention to it, you strengthen the connection between subconscious knowing and conscious awareness. It's not developing a magical power, it's learning to hear what your subconscious mind already knows. Sign 64. Reflection happening naturally. Reflection happens naturally. You don't have to force yourself to think about your life. Your mind does it automatically. Self-reflection is a default mental process. When your mind isn't occupied with immediate tasks, it naturally turns to self-examination. You think about who you are, what you want, how you're doing. This isn't narcissism, it's the mind's natural self-monitoring function. Sign 65. Emotional shifts noticed quickly. Emotional shifts are noticed quickly. You might detect the moment your mood changes, often before you know why. Your emotional monitoring system is highly sensitive. You register subtle shifts in feeling before conscious thought can identify their cause. This quick detection is protective. Emotions signal important information about your relationship with your environment. Noticing them early helps you respond adaptively. Sign 66. Experiences analyzed subconsciously. Experiences are analyzed subconsciously. Every event you live through gets processed for meaning, lessons, and implications, mostly without conscious effort. Your mind automatically extracts information from experience. It compares new experiences to old ones, looks for patterns, updates predictions, and adjusts behaviors. This analysis happens continuously in the background. You benefit from these lessons without consciously studying them. Sign 67. Emotional memories replaying. Emotional memories replay softly. Past moments of joy, pain, love, or loss might surface gently, bringing their original feelings with them. Emotion and memory are deeply connected. When a memory returns, it often brings its emotional signature. These replays aren't random. They're triggered by current circumstances that resonate with past experiences. Your mind uses emotional memory to inform present decision-making. Sign 68. Sensitivity reflecting awareness. Sensitivity reflects awareness. If you feel things deeply, notice subtle shifts, or respond strongly to beauty or suffering, it's because your awareness is finely tuned. Sensitive people aren't weak, they're highly perceptive. Their nervous systems register more information, their emotional systems respond more fully, their minds process more deeply. Sensitivity is heightened awareness, and it comes with both gifts and challenges. Sign 69. Unspoken emotions detected. Unspoken emotions are detected. You might know someone's upset even when they claim they're fine, or sense tension no one acknowledges. Your brain reads emotions through multiple channels: facial expressions, vocal prosody, body language, contextual cues. When these channels conflict with words, your subconscious detects the discrepancy. You feel that something's off because your pattern recognition system noticed incongruities that conscious thought might miss. Sign 70. Memories staying accessible. Memories stay accessible. Information you thought you'd forgotten might suddenly return when triggered by the right cue. Forgetting isn't deletion, it's retrieval failure. Most memories remain stored but become harder to access over time. The right trigger, a smell, sound, or context, can suddenly unlock memories you haven't accessed in years. Your memory system never truly switches off its archive. Sign 71. Thoughts feeling layered. Thoughts feel layered and deep. You might have a surface thought while simultaneously aware of deeper meanings, implications, or connections beneath it. Thought isn't linear, it's multidimensional. You can think about something while also thinking about your thinking, while also feeling something about both. These layers of awareness create depth and complexity in mental experience. Your consciousness operates on multiple levels simultaneously. Sign 72. Calm moments including reflection. Even calm moments include reflection. Peace doesn't mean mental emptiness, it means gentle awareness. In calm, you might still notice thoughts, feelings, and sensations. The difference is quality, not presence. Calm thought is soft, not agitated. Peaceful awareness is open, not grasping. You can think without disturbance, reflect without anxiety. Sign 73. Feelings processing slowly. Feelings process slowly and deeply. An emotional experience might take days or weeks to fully understand and integrate. Emotions aren't instant. They unfold over time. Initial reactions might be intense but shallow. Deep emotional processing happens gradually as you examine feelings from different angles, understand their sources, and integrate them into your self-understanding. Your emotional system works thoroughly, not quickly. Sign 74. Mental wakefulness not disturbing rest. Mental wakefulness doesn't disturb rest. You can have active thoughts while still recovering, rejuvenating, and resting effectively. Rest is about releasing strain, not eliminating awareness. You can rest while thinking if the thoughts aren't stressful. Mental activity and rest aren't incompatible. What matters is the quality of the activity, not its presence. Sign 75. The mind organizing quietly, the mind organizes quietly. Information sorts itself, priorities arrange themselves, understanding structures itself, all below conscious awareness. Your brain loves order. It automatically categorizes information, builds hierarchies, and creates structures. This organization happens continuously in the background. You might consciously notice the results. Suddenly things make sense. But the work itself happens quietly, systematically, constantly. Gentle pause now, the final part. Part 4. Why your mind never switches off. Sign 76. Evolution designed for awareness. The brain evolved for awareness. Your ancestors who noticed more, thought more, and processed more survived to pass on their genes. Complete mental shutdown would have been fatal in our evolutionary past. The ability to maintain vigilance, even at rest, protected against predators and dangers. Your mind's constant activity isn't dysfunction, it's inheritance. You carry the gift of ancestors who thought their way through challenges. Sign 77. Alertness once meant survival. Alertness once meant survival. In our ancestral environment, the mind that switched off completely didn't wake up. Your brain maintains baseline vigilance because, for millions of years, letting your guard down completely was dangerous. Even in sleep, your brain monitors for threats. This ancient alertness still runs in your modern brain, keeping some part of you always aware, always monitoring, always ready. Sign 78. Patterns protecting understanding. Patterns protect understanding. Your brain seeks patterns because patterns create predictability, and predictability creates safety. A mind that recognizes patterns can anticipate outcomes, avoid dangers, and exploit opportunities. Pattern seeking is constant because it's protective. Your brain never stops looking for regularities because understanding patterns means understanding how the world works. Sign 79. Thinking as natural motion. Thinking is natural motion. Your brain generates thought the way your heart generates beats, continuously, automatically, essentially. Expecting your brain not to think is like expecting your lungs not to breathe. Thought is what brains do. It's their primary function. Mental activity isn't something you do. It's something that happens through you, naturally and necessarily. Sign 80. Total shutdown not required. Total shutdown isn't required. Your brain doesn't need complete silence to rest, recover, or function optimally. The idea that rest requires mental emptiness is a misunderstanding. Your brain rests by cycling through different types of activity, from focused work to relaxed wandering to sleep processing. None of these states involves complete shutdown, and none needs to. Sign 81. Awareness equals safety. Awareness equals safety. The more aware you are of your internal states and external environment, the better you can navigate challenges. Consciousness exists to monitor and respond. Awareness lets you detect opportunities and threats, understand yourself and others, and adapt to changing circumstances. Your mind stays active because awareness is fundamentally protective. Sign 82. Thought creating control. Thought creates control. Thinking about the future lets you influence it. Thinking about the past lets you learn from it. Thinking about the present lets you navigate it. Your mind thinks constantly because thinking provides control over uncertainty. Through thought, you can mentally test scenarios, prepare responses, and reduce unpredictability. Thinking is your brain's way of managing an uncertain world. Sign 83. Meaning giving comfort. Meaning gives comfort. When experiences make sense, they feel manageable. Your mind constantly creates meaning because meaning reduces anxiety. Humans are meaning-making beings. You turn raw experience into stories, random events into patterns, suffering into lessons. This constant meaning-making is how your mind transforms chaos into comprehension, which is comforting even when the meaning itself is difficult. Sign 84. Understanding reducing fear. Understanding reduces fear. The unknown is frightening. The understood is manageable. Your mind seeks understanding constantly because comprehension feels safe. Anxiety often comes from not knowing. When you understand a situation, even a difficult one, anxiety decreases. Your brain prioritizes understanding because knowledge, even painful knowledge, is less stressful than uncertainty. Sign 85. The brain preferring gentle movement. The brain prefers gentle movement. Complete stillness isn't natural. Your mind likes to wander, explore, and meander through thoughts. Mental wandering isn't distraction, it's exploration. Your brain in its natural state doesn't fixate, it roams. This gentle movement is how it discovers connections, processes experiences, and generates creativity. Forced stillness can feel more unnatural than allowing this flow. Sign 86. Reflection balancing emotion. Reflection balances emotion. Thinking about your feelings helps regulate them. Your mind processes emotions through reflection. Emotions can be overwhelming when unfelt and unexplored. Thinking about feelings creates distance and perspective. This reflective processing, what psychologists call mentalization, is how you transform raw emotion into understood experience. Sign 87. Familiar thoughts feeling safe. Familiar thoughts feel safe. Your mind returns to known patterns because novelty requires energy and carries risk. There's comfort in familiar mental territory. Even repetitive or unhelpful thoughts can feel safer than unknown mental states. Your brain gravitates toward the familiar because predictability feels secure, even when the familiar isn't pleasant. Sign 88. Uncertainty activating thinking. Uncertainty activates thinking. Whenever you don't know something important, your mind begins problem-solving automatically. Uncertainty is a powerful cognitive trigger. Your brain treats not knowing as a problem to solve. This is why you can't easily stop thinking about uncertain situations. Your mind is trying to reduce the uncertainty through mental work. Sign 89. Quiet amplifying awareness. Quiet amplifies awareness. In silence, your consciousness becomes more pronounced. You notice thoughts, feelings, and sensations more clearly. External quiet removes competition for attention. With fewer inputs to process, your awareness turns inward and becomes more sensitive. Quiet doesn't empty the mind, it clarifies what's already there. Sign 90. Thought can soothe. Thought can soothe. Sometimes thinking through a problem, understanding a feeling, or imagining a desired future provides comfort. Not all thinking creates anxiety. Constructive thought can reduce stress by creating clarity, building plans, or processing emotions. Your mind doesn't think only to worry, it also thinks to understand, solve, and comfort. Sign 91. Awareness protects. Awareness protects. Being conscious of your thoughts, feelings, and environment helps you respond adaptively to challenges. Consciousness is fundamentally protective. The more aware you are, the better you can regulate yourself and navigate your world. Your mind maintains awareness because awareness is your primary tool for well-being. Sign 92. Rest doesn't mean silence. Rest doesn't mean silence. You can rest deeply while still experiencing thoughts, and you can be mentally active while still recovering. Rest is about releasing tension, not achieving emptiness. Physical rest, emotional rest, and mental rest aren't the same thing and don't always occur together. You can rest in ways that include thought without diminishing the restorative quality. Sign 93. Calm thoughts still exist. Calm thoughts still exist. Peace doesn't require the absence of thought, just the absence of mental strain. You can think peaceful thoughts, gentle thoughts, quiet thoughts. The problem isn't thinking itself, but the quality and intensity of thought. Calm isn't silence, it's softness. Sign 94. Mental motion isn't a flaw. Mental motion isn't a flaw. Your active mind isn't broken or dysfunctional. It's working exactly as designed. Modern culture sometimes treats mental activity as a problem to eliminate, but thought is natural and necessary. An active mind isn't evidence of dysfunction, it's evidence of consciousness. You're not failing at peace by thinking, you're succeeding at being alive. Sign 95. Awareness reflects intelligence. Awareness reflects intelligence. The fact that you notice your own thinking, that you're conscious of consciousness, demonstrates cognitive sophistication. Metacognition, awareness of your own mental processes, is a high-level cognitive function. When you notice yourself thinking, you're demonstrating a capacity that required millions of years to evolve. Your awareness of mental activity isn't a problem, it's a capability. Sign 96. Stillness looks different for everyone. Stillness looks different for everyone. Some minds quiet easily, others remain gently active. Both are valid forms of rest. There's no single correct way for a mind to be still. For some, stillness is minimal thought. For others, it's allowing thoughts to flow without attachment. Your version of stillness might include mental activity, and that's perfectly fine. Sign 97. Thought isn't disturbance. Thought isn't disturbance. The presence of thinking doesn't prevent peace, rest, or well-being. The assumption that thought disrupts peace creates unnecessary conflict with your own mind. Thought is neutral. It's your relationship with thought that determines its impact. You can coexist peacefully with an active mind. Sign 98. The brain rests in its own way. The brain rests in its own way. Neural rest doesn't look like what you might expect. Your brain recovers through different types of activity, not through shutdown. During sleep, your brain remains active, consolidating memories, processing emotions, maintaining vital functions. During relaxation, it continues generating thoughts, just with less intensity and direction. Rest is change, not cessation. Sign 99. A busy mind can be healthy. A busy mind can be healthy. Mental activity isn't pathology. Constant thinking can coexist with well-being. The relationship between mental activity and mental health isn't simple. Some people with very active minds live well and happily. Mental activity becomes problematic only when it's distressing or dysfunctional, not merely when it's present. Sign 100. Your mind never switches off. It simply changes gears. Your mind never switches off. It simply changes gears. From focused attention to relaxed wandering to dream imagery to waking thought, your consciousness continues, just in different modes. This is the fundamental truth. Mental activity is constant, but its character varies. You move between states, concentrating, daydreaming, sleeping, thinking, but awareness persists throughout. Your mind is always on, always processing, always present. And this isn't something to fix. It's something to understand. And now, you don't need to remember anything. Let the thoughts drift wherever they want to go. Let the mind do what it does best, which is to move, to wonder, to explore. You've just listened to 100 signs that your mind never truly switches off. Not because something's wrong, but because you're conscious, because you're alive, because you're aware. Your thoughts will continue, tonight, tomorrow, always, and that's okay. You don't need to empty your mind to find peace. You don't need to silence your thoughts to find rest. You can coexist with your active mind. You can notice thoughts without fighting them. You can be both mentally alive and deeply at peace. Your mind is doing exactly what it evolved to do. It's working perfectly, even when it feels busy, especially when it feels busy. So breathe gently. Let your thoughts be whatever they are. You are safe in this moment, with this mind, with these thoughts. There's nowhere else to be, nothing else to do. Just rest in the understanding that your mind's activity is natural, normal, and even necessary. You are exactly as you should be. Good night. Complete silence. And if you're still listening, if your mind is still active even now, smile softly. Because that's just your beautiful, working, healthy mind doing what minds do. Let it wander. Let it wonder. Let it be. Rest well.